Hey everyone, welcome back to OC Outdoorsman. Well, I got to the dock a bit late this morning. Quan and Kevin had an hour head start on me, so my primary goal this morning is to try to find those two guys somewhere out in the middle of the ocean. Chances are they're probably fishing one of the artificial reefs out here, and fortunately for me, I did mark the waypoints on my fish finder. So I'm going to check that out first. On my way outside of the harbor, I run into Alex here. Really nice guy. We're talking about his setup. If you notice, he has a Hobie Sport, which is a little 10-foot kayak, but he is also installed in a nice trolling motor. So he's moving along, and I'm pedaling to just keep up with him. But turns out he's on his way to the Palawan wreck, and I have a pretty good feeling that's where Kevin and Quan are, so I'll be following Alex out to Palawan. And sure enough, as soon as we get to Palawan, if you look just a few hundred yards away, that's Quan and Kevin. It really pays to get up early in the morning. It turns out these two already hooked into some decent sized rockfish, so I missed the open bite. But they also told me we're about to meet up with 3 other kayak fishermen, so after fishing Palawan here, we're going to go look for those guys. They're much better organized than me. Everyone is equipped with handheld radios, so locating these guys shouldn't be a problem. And indeed, we were able to find them fairly quickly. That is Holt and Dan in their Hobie kayaks. Kevin's in the red kayak, and just beyond him is Quan. And way out in the distance there, that is Honey Badger Voodoo. If you haven't watched his channel yet, I encourage you to subscribe. I'll put a link down in the description. There they are. We're all together now, heading out into open water to do some fishing together. By the way, this is Honey Badger Voodoo territory, so he was kind enough to share some of his popular fishing spots with us. Really nice of him. Here we're in a little over 200 feet of water, and I land my first rockfish of the morning. Not very big. I end up releasing this little guy. Quan has spotted a bait ball in this area, so I immediately drop a sabiki rig, and I'm able to land this nice little mackerel. Here I'm fishing above a sunken crane that Honey Badger has shared with us, and this is where I land my first calico bass of the morning. Soon after that, I hook into a juvenile sand bass. If you're wondering, right now I'm only using squid as bait, and it seems to be working well. He's not quite 14 inches, so he gets to go back in the water. There's Honey Badger Voodoo again. Right now we are on our way to the Redondo Beach kelp forest. This is something I've really been looking forward to, and man, I was really impressed. Look at the thickness of this kelp forest. I have not seen it like this at Dana Point or Newport Beach. Palos Verdes comes pretty close, but I've never seen it quite as expansive. So here I'm going to drop a shrimp down to the bottom, and you'll see how quickly it disappears because of the poor visibility, and that's typical of Southern California. But unfortunately, we just came here at the wrong time. Current wasn't moving very much, so none of us landed anything. We didn't spend too much time here. But I will definitely return. As we get back out to open water, I land another calico bass. He's short, so I end up releasing him. Here's a better look at this nice little bass before he goes back home. Here's a device that I created. It's kind of a makeshift Shelton device designed to help fish suffering from barotrauma, rockfish that is, return to the bottom where they're able to recover more quickly. So if you're going to be fishing Southern California for rockfish, I highly encourage you to have a device like this ready to send them back down safely. Now, because the water is so deep, I sped up the footage, but you're just going to let it sink a couple 100 feet down and then just yank quickly on your pole so that it's released from the hook. Once that's done, you'll see, there it is, another shot of the Shelton device. Here I cast out another squid, and we're in over 300 feet of water, and I land this beautiful brown rockfish. Here's a better look at him. He's definitely a keeper. Here I've drifted into slightly shallower water. We're at about 200 feet at this point, and I land this decent sand bass. Now he measured in at just over 14 inches, and if you look closely, he spits up a baby eel on my lap. Now he's pretty skinny, but it was amazing the kind of fight these fish can put up. Pedal back out to 300 feet and I land my first double, and it's a decent one. If you notice, the swells are getting worse and the wind has really picked up, so it was a battle trying to stay over the good fishing spots. We were constantly moving and drifting. It was a lot of work, but it paid off. We were catching fish. At this point, it's late afternoon. The swells were just getting worse, and the wind really picked up. Fortunately for us, there's Quan to my left. It was behind us, so it pushed us along, and we were moving at a pretty good pace as we raced back to the harbor. With the big swells, the increased wind, and the choppiness of the water, it was a really rough ride. It's hard to tell because of the GoPro's video stabilization, but it was not pretty. We covered over 13 miles of water, and we were out there for 10 hours. But I'm telling you, it was well worth it. We had a great time. It was so good to be back inside the harbor and the calm waters right by the dock here. A really great day. Made quite a few new friends. And thanks again to Honey Badger Voodoo for taking us on a tour of Redondo Beach and how to properly fish it. Well, thanks you guys for watching. If you haven't done so, please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Thanks again, everybody.